Greetings, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad you're here. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight, we'll be reading From Niggas to Gods by Akil or Brother Dre. The book starts with a foreword from the author, which says, This is a compilation of individual essays written during the summer and fall of 1992. The essays are designed to inspire thought within the Black mind. These writings are primarily targeted toward the Black youth of this day, of which I am a part of. I am not a master of these teachings, but these teachings I wish to master. They say that my generation is not intelligent enough to read a book. I say that they are wrong. It is just that they are not writing about anything of interest that is of relevance to our lives. And when they do write something, they have to write it in the perfect King's English to impress their Harvard professors. Here we are with a book in one hand and a dictionary in the other, trying to understand what in the hell the author is intellectually masturbating about. If you have got something to say, just say it. We are not impressed by your 27-letter words or your Shakespearean style of writing. The Black youth of today do not give a damn about Shakespeare. This ain't no damn poetry contest. We are dealing with the salvation of our entire Black nation. If you want to reach the people, you have to embrace us where we are and then take us where we need to go. So these writings are from my generation and for my generation with respect and love. If no one will teach, love, and guide us, then we will teach, love, and guide ourselves. Peace. Your brother Dre. In other words, Akil. Introduction. So here we are. Here we are, the mothers and fathers of supreme civilization, living within the most self destructive, uncivilized state of mind called nigga. Nigga is a state of mind that leads to a state of existence. Nigga is a state of mind and existence in which we now live. So here we are. How did we get here? We have not always lived in this state of mind. We once lived within a state of mind that produced supreme Black excellence and supreme Black genius. Our ancestors called this state of mind and state of existence God. We were all divine gods and goddesses, but children of the Most High God, who serves as our master teacher toward the divinity within our own nature. Well, as you know, we are no longer living and existing on the level of gods and goddesses. We are now existing on the level of niggas. We have been psychologically, biologically, and therefore spiritually reduced from gods to niggas. And we have been destroyed and reduced to dust. Look, all of this tragedy is true, but wait, today is a good day. Today is a new day. This is the beginning of our reconstruction. The days of our destruction are over. This is the day that we return from niggas to gods. We have spent all of our time and energies toward our own self destruction. But now, with those same energies, we will be rechanneled toward our own self construction. But wait, wait, wait. We want to negate our course on the path of truth that will lead us out of the lies that have shackled us down for so many centuries. Understand that before we get to where we are going, we have to tell some straight, honest, hard truth about where we are right now. These writings are not necessarily anything new. The truth ain't new. The truth is as ancient as time itself. These writings will only tell you the truth in a particular arrangement and language that is clearly understandable for these times. These writings are not designed to solve the problems of this world. These writings are primarily designed to inspire the thought process. These writings are designed to inspire thought within those young, precious Black minds that will ultimately produce the solutions to the problems of this world. So before we make this move back from niggas to gods, let us tell some of this hard, raw, straightforward, uncompromising, honest to God truth that will qualify us to make this divine ascension. Greetings, Anthony McPhail. Yes, we are reading from niggas to gods. Anthony McPhail says this is priceless. You are still a slave. Are we still confined to the chains of slavery? Many people believe that the enslavement of Black men, women, and children is a thing of the past. The world believes that America has set her Black slaves free from the bondage of their white slave masters. Even some Black people in America believe that they are actually free from the mastery and control of their white oppressors. In fact, most Black people in America today have been psychologically duped into believing that they are actually operating according to their own will. These misled perceptions cannot be further from the actual truth. You are indeed, in thought, and in fact, still a slave. Now, wait a minute. I know that many of you are saying, I don't know what he's talking about. Don't nobody tell me what to do, and I go wherever I want to go, whenever I want to go. Well, you are right to a certain extent. You can do whatever you want to do, and you can go wherever you want to go. But consider this: you ain't doing nothing and you ain't going nowhere. The slave master don't have to chain you down or whoop your Black ass anymore because you ain't doing nothing and you ain't going nowhere. You have freedom in name, but not in definition. You are not a slave in name, but you are in definition. You see, the definition of the word slave means one who is dominated by some outside influence and having no personal rights or freedom. Now, are you dominated by some outside influence other than your own internal influence? Do you have your personal rights and your true freedom? Do you really know and understand what freedom actually is? Have you ever truly experienced true freedom? Do you even remember what true freedom was all about? What do you know other than what the white folks have told you? Nothing. What do you know other than what the Black folks have told you that they heard from other white folks? Nothing. Yes, the physical slavery is somewhat over, but what about the biological slavery? What about the economical slavery? What about the sociological slavery? What about the spiritual slavery? What about the psychological slavery? The physical chains were just one aspect amidst the many horrors of slavery. The chains are off of our hands, but we ain't producing nothing. The chains are off of our feet, but we ain't going nowhere. Why? 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 This is because those psychological chains were the least of our worries. We still have the biggest chain of all wrapped around our hearts, minds, and souls. Your mind is still locked down, and your mind that controls your hands and your feet. That's like having a brand new shiny car, but the engine is locked up. Having a car that can't go nowhere is just like not having a car at all. What are you doing? Nothing. Where are you going? Nowhere. The white man took the chains off of our hands and feet because we stopped swinging and we stopped kicking. So why not just take the damn chains off? We have been in the chains for so long that we have forgotten why the white slave master put them on us in the first place. We have forgotten the original reason and purpose for physical chains. The chains were to hold you down. But if you ain't trying to get up, the chains have outlived their purpose. Think about that for a while. Stop reading for a second. I want you to think. Let us attempt to make this point a bit clearer by using an example. I want you to stay open minded and stop thinking like the slave that you were meant to be. Let us use a hypothetical example along with our imaginations. The relationship between a dog and its master can be directly paralleled to the relationship between the Black people and their white slave masters for the past 4 centuries in America. This is very true. I want to open your mind, and I want you to open your mind and really think about this objectively. Consider this. Suppose that tomorrow, for some reason, you became interested in getting a pet dog for your family or household. Suppose that you then go to the pet store and look around and you find a dog that you are interested in buying. You then purchase the dog and bring it back to your home. Now, once you get home, you notice this dog is a bit active and untamed. So you purchase a collar for the dog and a chain and chain the dog to a tree in the backyard. Since the dog is untamed, you have to begin training the dog to obey your commands. You can eventually train this dog to do everything from catching a frisbee to attacking an enemy of yours at a single command. But before you train your new dog to do all these other things, you must train your dog not to run away from you and to return to you at your immediate command, right? You have to keep choking the dog with that collar until he stops trying to run away from you. You also have to give the dog food and water on a daily routine schedule so that it will become totally dependent upon you for physical and nutritional survival. The dog will forget how to independently hunt and find food for itself. Therefore, persuading the dog away from any other desires to flee away from you or to do for itself. Isn't that what they do to us? They try to make us totally dependent upon their systems so that we won't do for self. Greetings, KW Don 7. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm so glad you're here. We're on page 4 of From Niggas to Gods. I also must add that anytime the dog does anything to disobey you, you either whip it or deny it its scheduled meal or food. Also, anytime the dog is extra obedient to your wishes, you will give it extra dog food and a pat on the head. This psychological training is absolutely necessary to gain total control over your animal or over your nigger. You must break down its free spirit, tame it, and make it totally dependent upon you. This is the only way to win your animal or your nigger's obedience permanently. After a while, you will have your dog so obedient and so well trained that you can take the collar off the dog and unchain the dog from the tree. The dog can now roam freely because you have it so well trained that it will run to you at your very command. The dog isn't going anywhere. The dog now loves you. The dog loves you because you feed it every day. It is happy and satisfied to get dog slop and water every day, even though you may be in a house eating a full steak dinner every day. The dog believes that it deserves nothing better than dog slop. So the dog is grateful to you because it remembers those days that you denied it food for reasons of its disobedience to you. And the dog has forgotten how to provide for itself, like in its days of independence. The dog loves you because it remembers when it was chained to the tree in the backyard. And it also remembers the day that you unchained its neck from the tree. The dog licks your hand every time it remembers that you set it free. But what the dog has failed to remember is that you were the same no good bastard that chained it to the tree in the first place. Yes, that dog, that nigger, has totally forgotten that you were the one who purchased him from the bondage of one man to be under your bondage. The dog has been psychologically tricked by you. So the dog does not recognize you for who you really are. The dog has forgotten that you are the no good bastard that originally locked him up. So you had better not let that dog remember that fact, because as soon as that dog is reminded of the fact, that will be the day that the dog bites you in your ass. The dog will then proceed to bite everybody's ass in the family that has been smiling at it for all these years. The dog will then leave your house, never to come back again. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you really understand what's being said to you? Think about it. Really think about it. Now, if your dog or your nigger does leave you one day, how will you handle it? How will you react? Will you react violently and chase the dog? Will you mourn over the fact that your dog has left you? After all, a dog is a man's best friend. You know what they say. Some of the best friends of blacks, oops, I mean dogs, oops, I mean niggers. If your dog leaves you, will you miss the way it used to curl up around your feet and lick your boots clean? Will you miss the way it used to do anything just to get a pat on the head? It just loved your attention. Will you miss the way it used to dance and wag its tail for your entertainment? Will you miss the dog's protection? Will you miss the way it would attack any of your enemies, even if the enemies were other dogs or other niggas that looked just like it? You would not even have to break a sweat. The dog would fight all of your fights for you. Will you miss the loyal service of your well trained dog? I wonder if you will. I really wonder. I also wonder, will white folks miss us so called Negroes once we get smart enough to leave them? I wonder, will we ever start to remember how we got here in the first place? I wonder if we start remembering who put the chains on us in the first place, and will we ever realize why they took them off. They did not take the chains off of us because they felt ashamed of the horrible crimes they committed against us. Don't be a fool to believe that. They took the chains off because us Negroes were so psychologically trained that we were not going anywhere anyway. This is the truth. So now we live our entire lives running around his backyard, doing what we have been trained to do and hoping for an extra dog biscuit, a pat on the head, or some leftover scraps from the slave master's table. Yes, this is the absolute truth. This is the truth, and don't try to deny it, because the first loyalty of a dog, of a nigga, to its master is to protect its master. So stop barking, slave, because you barking up the wrong tree. Stop barking and face the truth. You are still nothing but the white man's nigga. I know that this truth hurts, but you must understand that you and I have been psychologically duped. We have been deceived. We've been misled. We've been plain, we've just been plain lied to. You must understand and know this, because knowing is half the battle. The other half of the battle is fighting what you now know is wrong. But but how are you going to fight a problem if you don't even know what the problem is? Now, let's look at this thing so that we know what the problem is. Let's try to calm our personal emotions and just think objectively. Yes, you are still a slave. A slave is something or someone who is not in control of his or her own thoughts and actions. Do you understand what that means? This means that a slave has been absolutely no control over themselves. And just as I said, that you are indeed, in thought and in fact, still a slave. This is serious. Your thoughts and your actions make up the basis upon which your entire life is built. Your thoughts and actions are the only two things you can actually call your own. Those are the only two things that are truly yours. Not your money, not your car, not your house, not your television, not your clothes, not your furniture, not your stereo, not your girlfriend, not your boyfriend, not your husband, not your wife, not your child. None of it is yours. Greetings, Bawana Haguziki. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're reading From Niggas to Gods. We're on page 7. None of this can be called your own because you came into this world without it, and you are going to leave this world without it. Greetings, Forecast. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm so glad you're here. So you really can't even claim your own black ass because you don't even take your body with you when you leave this earth. The molecules and atoms that bond together to form and make up your rusty black butt must return back to the soil of the earth where it came from in the first place. Think about it. Now, do you understand what I'm saying? When I say that all you actually have in life are your thoughts and your actions, well, black man and black woman, you don't even have that. You are not even in control of your own thoughts and actions. You are just like that dog. Your whole entire life is centered around the way that this slave master has trained you. Yes, it's true. I have no reason to lie to you. I'm right down in hell with you. The only difference between me and you is that I know that we are in hell and you don't. I know that real devil who put us in hell, and you don't. I'm running around trying to get the hell out of hell. You're running around begging the devil for a cool glass of water and scratching your head wondering why it's so damn hot in here. You running all around hot as hell while the devil is just cooling out, trying to get a suntan. He don't feel the heat because he's right at home. He is as comfortable as can be, just laughing at your black ass, just laughing at my black ass. All of your thoughts and actions are directly or indirectly controlled by the psychological training of the slave master. We are just like that loyal dog. Our thoughts and actions are not ours anymore. You know that this is true. You don't control yourself because you don't really know yourself, other than what the white man has taught you that you are. The white man taught us that we were nothing but a bunch of no good niggas, right? Tell the truth. He told us that we were niggas. So, just like any good slave would, we started thinking like niggas and we started acting like niggas. Yes, we did. Yes, we do. Yes, most of us still think this way even after reading this truth. The white man told us that we were stupid, ignorant, and inferior to him. So we started thinking like we were stupid, ignorant, and inferior to him. And we started acting like we were stupid, ignorant, and inferior. But Bwana Haguziki says, this brother really colorful, ain't he? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's trying to reach a certain demographic. This was written in the 90s, and he was trying to appeal to that group of young people. The white man started treating our black women like bitches, hoes, and sluts on his plantation. Soon afterwards, the ignorant and foolish black man began treating his woman like a bitch, a hoe, or a slut too, instead of the queen mother of civilization that she is. Yes, this is true. But wait just 1 minute, black woman. Some of you sisters are so weak minded too that you start to think and act like bitches, hoes, and sluts, dancing around, exposing your buttocks like some devil damned prostitute. And don't get mad or upset because you know what I'm telling you know that I'm telling the truth. The only sisters that are getting upset are the ones with their black asses hanging out for the whole world to see right now. Don't get all upset. Just come back correct. Respect yourself, black woman, and don't let any of your children around the world disrespect you, including the childish black men who haven't grown into the fathers of civilization that we were born to be. Now, getting back to the point, you are not in control of your thoughts and actions. Do you continue to do things that you know are wrong, but yet keep on doing them anyway? You are just sitting there wondering why you can't stop doing what you know is wrong. This is because you don't control your thoughts and actions. You are a victim to a very complex system of psychological slavery and technology. The white slave owner is still your master. Crack cocaine is still your master. Alcohol is still your master. The 40-ounce beer is still your master. Peer pressure is still your master. Television is still your master. Money is still your master. Girlfriends or boyfriends are still your master. Sex is still your master. Conceitedness is still your master. Envy is still your master. Ego is still your master. Jealousy is still your master. The materialism is still your master. Credit cards are still your master. Self hatred is still your master. The appetite is still your master. Emotions are still your master. Racism is still your master. Sexism is still your master. The foolishness is still your master. Ignorance is still your master. The true devil is still your master. Everything and everybody has mastered you but your own black self. You are still a slave to everything and everybody, but you ain't master to a damn thing. At one time, the black man and black woman were mental masters of the universe, but now you are not even masters of your own black asses. So, what are you going to do about it? When are you going to hop the fence? You don't even have your own names. You pride yourself in the names of murderers, rapists, and oppressors of your people. How long are you going to be the white man's nigger? How long are we going to be the white man's nigger? Think about it. Peace, Brother Dre. As I said, he wrote these essays from 1990 in the summer and fall of 1992, and he's writing to a younger generation. And he's making an attempt to pierce their consciousness in simple, easy to understand language so that they would get the message and they would begin to understand. Now, one of the reasons that I believe we are still enslaved is because we are slaves to the cost of living. We unfortunately have no control over the means of production. We don't own and control anything, any industry. We have to get to the point where we control an industry so that we're able to build ourselves up. I also believe that since we don't control any major media empires, we have to look at the fact that we are programmed by what they decide to broadcast to us. That's why it's so important to listen to alternative Black media and to alternative media, period, because mainstream media is owned and controlled by your enemy, and they are only going to tell you the stories that they want you to hear. So you're going to hear stories of Black degradation and murder. You're not going to hear the good Black news of children excelling and exceeding milestones and benchmarks that they didn't think that we were supposed to excel and exceed. I also think that he's talking about the fact that we willingly submit to these people on a consistent basis. We're not fighting the system. We're trying to find our place within the system. We're no longer militant. We're no longer militant towards their system. We're trying to integrate into their system. And as Bwana Haguziki said, with regard to being slaves to the cost of living, we are debt slaves because we don't own and control any industry or any area of our lives so that we have the opportunity to actually not be enslaved, so that we set the price of rent. We are subject to the price of rent. We are subject to the price of food. We are subject to the price of transportation. We are subject to the price of living. Let me know if you guys want to come up. Just put a 1 in the chat anytime you think you want to come up. I'm going to read 3 or 4 more sections because his sections are short essays. Are you into that Black stuff? What do you mean when you ask me, are you into that Black stuff? Am I into that black stuff? Well, of course I'm into that black stuff too. Fool. As a matter of fact, I'm not into that black stuff. I am into this black stuff. Yes, I am into this black stuff 24 hours a day. Of course, I am also into this black stuff. What else is there for this black man to be in but his own black self? Aren't you into black stuff too? I'm sure you are. I thought all black people were supposed to be into black stuff. What else could you be into? If you are not into your own black self, the opposite of black stuff is white stuff. And I know you aren't into that white stuff now, are you? That wouldn't make any sense, would it? Why would black people want to be into white stuff? That would be silly. So, of course, I'm into that black stuff, and you should be too. You don't have any business trying any other stuff but your own black stuff. The black stuff is your stuff, and this is black stuff is my stuff. So get out of that other stuff and get back into your own stuff. It only makes logical sense, doesn't it? What if you had a cat that was into dog stuff? Would that not seem a bit peculiar? What if your cat refused to take on any of the thoughts, actions, and characteristics of a cat? What if the cat just happened to be kidnapped by some dogs when it was a kitten? What if these kidnapping dogs raised that kitten all of its life the same way they would raise their own puppies? What if this kitten grew up brainwashed, thinking that it was a dog like the other puppies? The cat knows it doesn't look like the other dogs, but the cat tries to ignore that fact by saying that all animals are created equal. What if this happened? You know that I'm not making this all up, right? I mean, what if this cat eventually started doing everything just like the dogs that kidnapped him? What if that cat started barking at cars and burying bones in the backyard? The cat would look pretty stupid doing the dog stuff, wouldn't he? The cat would look pretty stupid to all the other cats as well as to the other dogs themselves. What if the cat went so far as to try to mate with other dogs? Have you ever seen a cat try to do that? That would look very silly, wouldn't it? This silly, brainwashed cat just running around trying to be a dog. What if one day this brainwashed cat had the nerve to walk up to another cat and say, "Are you into that cat stuff?" Wouldn't that be just hilarious? This poor brainwashed cat thinks he is a dog, got nerve enough to question another cat about being into cat stuff. Wouldn't that be ridiculous? That poor brainwashed cat needs to be taught the knowledge of his true self so that he can stop wondering why his dog companions keep dogging him around. He can try to be a dog all day long, but he will never bark just like a dog because he's not actually a dog. Other dogs don't really respect him. They just laugh at the poor brainwashed cat. The other cats don't respect him because he acts like a stupid, clumsy dog. They don't want this confused animal around them either. This poor cat is just lost, confused, and frustrated, while all the time wondering why. The cat is so deeply brainwashed that he can't see the obvious reason for all his problems and his own downfalls. He is literally right under his nose. This cat needs to take a long, long, long look in the mirror And so do you for asking me that dumb question. So he's talking about Black conservatives for the most part. Black people that want to be white, that hang out with whites, that do white things, that are into that white stuff. He's talking about Black people that have forgotten that they are Black. And in this day and age, he's even talking about Black people that have forgotten that all Black people on the planet have something in common. He's even talking about the fact that all Black people on the planet have a common enemy. Because guess what? When you try to intermix and intermingle with non Black groups, they treat you like an outsider. They treat you like a foreigner. They wonder, why haven't you decided to mix in with your own kind? Why you coming over here trying to pretend to be one of them? Why are you trying to be one of these non-Black people? What is your game? And oftentimes, these culturally misoriented Negroes make attempts to be anything but African, which is what we inevitably are. Because if the melanin runs through your skin, you are some kind of African. Turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek? Did he say turn the other cheek? Love your enemies? Love them, your enemies. We are all God's children. Say what? Don't believe the hype. This essay is dedicated to you mentally dead, ignorant, house nigga, butt kissing Negroes who are still trying to hold on to that turn the other cheek ideology that has outlived its usefulness. This is necessary because you damn slaves won't let it die. This is a brand new Black man and a brand new Black woman. This generation will not stand for you and your suicidal ideologies. It is time for our people to wake up from the grave of ignorance, and you are trying to pull us back down into the coffin with you. You are dead, and your ideas are dead. Well, you can remain dead asleep while we struggle on with the living. We do not need your enemy loving self. You are excess luggage. You are expendable. You have no usefulness to us who are the righteous. Keep on loving and protecting and defending your historical enemies. You are nothing but a two faced, lukewarm, hypocritical slave. Turn the other cheek. Love everybody, even your enemies. You don't really believe that ideology, do you? Answer me honestly and directly. And for those of you listening, you don't have to answer me, but answer this for yourself. Do you really believe? And don't say that you really do believe in this so called peaceful ideology, because if you say that you do, then I would have to call you a liar and an extreme hypocrite. You don't believe in turning the other cheek. You really are a lying hypocrite. You will go downtown to march, picket, and demonstrate to the white man that you are a devil damned fool, so that he can tell you no to whatever it is that you're begging him for. And then he will sick his police dogs on you and beat you in the head with his club or his nigger stick while you just smiling and turning the other cheek. Every time you turn your black cheek, he kicking your butt cheeks. You are just as psychotic as your enemy is. Blood pouring down the side of your head while you just loving your enemies and turning your cheeks. You are just crazy, suicidal, idiotic, and hypocritical. You are a hypocrite because your turn the other cheek ideology really only applies to white folks. You only turn your other cheek to white folks. You don't turn your cheek to black folks. Yes, this is true and factual. These same brain dead Negroes will come home from downtown all bandaged up, bruised up, and bloodied up, and they forget all about turning the other cheek. This same so called peace loving, nonviolent Negro will become violent in their own neighborhood. And I'll add to that, even in their own household, because domestic violence was on the rise when they were turning the other cheek. If that same hypocritical, so called nonviolent Negro was walking down the street and I walked up to him and screamed the word nigger as I started beating him with a club, this nonviolent Negro would try to kill me by any means necessary. This is the absolute truth. You are a hypocrite. A white man will spit in your face and you will turn the other cheek. But if a black man looks at you the wrong way, you're ready to take his life away. You are just an enemy loving, self hating, two faced, confused, hypocritical slave. You mentally lost individuals start talking about nonviolence when it comes to your white slave masters. You will go and get your Bible out and start pointing to the picture of your blue eyed Jesus. You start talking about peace and love when you are referring to white folks. You start preaching about how all just got to live together in harmony and with love. But at the same time, you raising hell you're raising high hell in the black ghetto. You want to live in harmony and love with white folks only. So, you really don't believe in that so called peaceful ideology because you beat up your own wife in that same day. That's that domestic violence I was telling you about. You will beat and abuse your children until they show scars. You will violently attack your own black brother over the smallest little conflict or reason. But if the white man came into your house today and kicked your big black ass, you would sit there crying like a little cheek turning, enemy loving, hypocritical punk. I'll add that this is probably something that goes back to post traumatic slave syndrome because the most powerful person on the plantation was the white man and his male heirs. They committed horrific acts of violence in front of black men, showing them that they would pull them apart, rip them apart, feed them to dogs, slit their throats, castrate them, sodomize them, and do all manner of things to them if they fought back. So this probably has some post-traumatic slave syndrome elements to this behavior. Continuing. You are all about peace and love when it comes to your enemy, but you all about violence and hate when it comes to your own family. I can't even consider you to be lost anymore because you are just a damn devil fool and you deserve everything that you have coming to you. You will sit there and watch your women and children being attacked by your savage white racist enemies, and you will sit still there like a nonviolent weak punk. You are just a devil damned fool, and your woman and children would be damned fools to continue walking with you after being cowardly betrayed. You need a nigger stick upside your head. You need to be beaten by your enemies. Maybe they can beat some common sense into you. And don't you come to me talking about what God said and what your blue-haired, blue-eyed, blonde-haired, watered-down, punkified, white version of Jesus said either. Don't pick up your Bible talking about this nonviolent love your enemies and we are all God's children suicidal madness. If we start talking like that and holding the Bible at the same time, then I know that have obviously not read your Bible. You obviously don't know the true God. You obviously don't know the true Jesus. The true Jesus was not a punk like you're trying to make him out to be. Read your Bible. The true Jesus was definitely, most definitely not a white man. Read your Bible. Jesus is the Black revolutionary Messiah. God has never loved his enemies. Read your Bible. The devils are the enemies of God, and God didn't love no devils. So why do you? Why do you love your enemies? Do you love devils? Well, do you? You are so devil damned confused by the devil in person that you don't know what in the hell you believe now. Read your Bible again. Why are you nonviolent toward your enemies? God is never nonviolent toward his enemies. God has killed entire civilizations full of his enemies. God has killed entire nations full of his enemies. Read your Bible. Read it. God is never nonviolent towards his enemies, so why are you? God doesn't turn his other cheek, so why should you? God doesn't love everybody because God doesn't love devils. We are not all God's children because the devils are not in the family of God. The devils are rebellious orphans, and nobody wants them to be their silly slave. Nobody wants them but your silly slave self. So you go ahead and take care of your little wicked friends, and we will watch them take care of you. You are just an ignorant fool. Even the beasts of the field have more common sense than you. Self preservation is rule number one. The animals in nature are more intelligent than you. Any animal in nature will fight to save its own, no matter how small the hunted animal is, and no matter how large the hunting animal is. The hunted animal will fight for its life. This is a rule of nature or a rule of God. You can back any animal into a corner and it will attack you to save its own life. Self preservation, self defense. You can take the peaceful being of a small squirrel and force it back into a corner. You will find that them big buck teeth can bite more than just acorns. This squirrel is much more intelligent than you are with your crazy self. The laws of God and nature are right before you every day. That squirrel ain't going to try to love you or turn the other cheek. That intelligent squirrel is going to try to bite the hell out of you to get out of that corner alive. And it is you that the intelligent squirrel has to come up against. He will probably bite you and then turn around and kick your ass just for the hell of it because he heard that you were one of those non-violent cheek turning fools. You are just in bad shape. You get no respect. God don't respect you. I don't respect you. The squirrel doesn't respect you. The white man don't respect you. And most of all, you don't respect yourself. You are just a well-trained house pet or a well-trained house slave. It is very rare that a dog will bark at its master, but a dog will bark at another dog all day long. And I think one of the things that we have to remember is that Christianity, as it is taught, is self-harm. Because this idea that we have to turn the other cheek, that we have to be understanding, that we have to love our enemies, that we have to love the hell out of these people is wrong. I talk often about Christianity as self-harm or cash class. I'll get into that later. But what you have to remember is that God, the God of the Bible, killed nations. He would tell his people to go in there and murder every man, woman, child, animal, to purge the land of unrighteousness. That's the Old Testament God. Okay? I think that they misconstrue it and that they get it wrong because Jesus laid down his life because they couldn't kill him. Jesus laid down his life and gave up the ghost in an attempt to allow others to be saved. But we have to get to the point where we are willing to lay down our life for something that we believe in. We have to get to the point where we are so violent towards them, not overtly, not gun wielding, oh, I'm gonna shoot you, pew, pew, pew. But we have to respond to their violence with violence. We have to give them an equal or greater response to the threats that they pose to us each and every day. And we have to be willing to lay our lives down for the freedom that we know is ours, for the freedom that we deserve. We have to get to the point where we're not using the religious doctrines that they've taught us to keep ourselves in a box, to keep ourselves caged in, to keep ourselves stuck inside the paradigm that they would have us stuck in, where we are just serving them. We have to get to the point where we are serving ourselves, where we are building for ourselves, where we are doing for ourselves. All right, guys, that's my hour. I thank each and every one of you for being here. I want to thank Bawana Haguziki, The Forecast Radio, KW Don 7, and Anthony McPhail. I know that Sister Raw and the elders are listening. I know that Koku from the Bitter Medicine Podcast is listening. I know that Oni Tase from the Pro Black Perspective is listening. I know that Brother Bakari from the Black Business Network is listening. I know that Manning for Mayor is listening, and you. Yes, you. I appreciate you for tuning in to listen with me this week. And we will be back on Monday reading The American Slave Coast. On Tuesday, reading The American Slave Coast. And we'll be back Thursday at 9 o'clock, continuing from Niggas to Gods, where we start off with I Have a Dream. We're going to read as much as we can every week until we get through both volumes of this book series. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you later. Peace, guys.